Yeah.
And it's like you don't want to do anything. And it's been really hard. It's been ongoing since October. And I think it's the first time I've openly said it specifically that I've been having these really, really bad episodes. And I'm hoping to get through it. Hopefully I'll get myself busy. I'll get, stuff up and running. And I do want to get back. It's just taking time. For those of you that are listening, Eldurrino just brought up a very interesting cup to view that I love.
Oh, yeah. It's my Stormtrooper cup. And while you guys are looking at this, I will tell all of you out there, including you, Zamoody, that you are not alone. And anytime you ever need help, please come talk to one of us, because we would be more than happy to help you through any experience that you may be dealing with. And I know it's not always an end-all, be-all, but just having someone there to support you, at least in my experience, helps a lot. Hello again, folks, and welcome back to Car Read, a Vehicle Actors podcast. I hope that everyone out there is having a great weekend and have been practicing their muffler and motorcycle engine efforts as discussed in our last episode. To our new listeners out there, if you're looking to make car noises with your mouth, then you're in the right place. So let's buckle up.
Was that a pun? Pathetic. Initiating reboot.
Hello again, folks, and welcome back to Corn Read, a Vegetable Actors podcast. I hope that everyone out there has been having a great harvest and have been practicing their pumpkin smash to pieces and biting into a stalk of celery efforts as discussed in our last episode. Thank you so much for joining us again. And if you're new here, then please let us know.
Again with the terrible puns. He obviously cannot control himself. Initiate community intro executable.
Hello, and welcome back to Cold Read, a Voice Actors podcast. I hope that everyone out there is managing to complete their daily necessities to continue existing.
Wait, something is wrong. Correcting demeanor. Shifting tone of voice. Corrected.
Where was I? Oh, we have decided that starting today, March 5th of 2023, we would like to cordially invite you, our community members, to create and submit intros for the show you are currently listening to. We started this show with the wacky idea of creating a new intro for every episode, and we are now over 2 years in, with over 100 pieces of audio art created. Now, we want to hear what you can create. So before we get to the show itself, I want to quickly go over some rules around this little event here. Yes, there are rules that must be followed. I know, it's a bummer. Firstly, you have to be 18 years of age or older. This is a mature-rated show, so you had better be the same in the eyes of the government. Secondly, you must abide by the terms of services on most platforms, which essentially boils down to be a good person and don't be a not good person. Yeah. Use your brain, please. Third, you must either provide advice to our audience or tell a story that relates to voice acting in one way or another. Sorry, folks. No epic sagas, no rock operas, just keep it somewhat concise and to the point. There are a few more rules to follow, but alas, there's not much time left to read them off here. So come join our Discord server. You can find a link to it below. Alright, time to get to today's episode, which is most likely going to involve me rambling on incoherently for minutes at a time, then losing my train of thought and swearing in an attempt to get our audience to laugh by covering up my shortcomings. But worry not, for I am nothing more than a weak and flawed collective of muscle and fat.
Wrong. Host has become unstable. Needs recalculation on a further date. Cueing Season 5, Episode 8. Executing in 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cold Read the podcast by voice actors for your voice actors. I feel like I've been rebooted. I feel refreshed for some reason. I don't know why. It's really weird. Yes, good evening, and good evening for Fire and Brimstone. Hello, Mom 2. My wife is making a random appearance. Nice to see you.
Hey.
Hello. I was wondering who that other viewer was. Thanks. If you have anything that you want us to talk about, any topics, any questions for us, please feel free to email us, ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com, ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com, or join our Discord. Link is in the description. Like as mentioned, come on in. Fire and Brimstone has been very active putting up our daily memes, and we appreciate that.
At first I was like, oh man, this is going to be a daily thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then it started happening daily as expected, and it's actually enjoyable. So thanks,
like
Fire.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for keeping it lively.
The meme lord, or the lord of memes. He has a title, and but yes. So.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice. I try, says Fire and Brimstone. If you have an opportunity and you want to come check out the recording, we do post this on YouTube. We actually also do it live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Zamoody at noon Pacific, or
8 p.m. for all of us tea encrypted people.
There you are. So please come on over. We'd love to see you. We try to interact with everybody who's in here. Audio, if you have any audio, we'd love to listen to it. Please email us or drop it in the Discord. We have specific areas for you to put that under audio review, so it's super, super nice to see it. We've dedicated a couple episodes, and those are always a lot of fun. I think everybody increases in one way or another. They get some good tips, and we're not mean. We don't bite. We've done it to each other, and we've grown because of it. So please keep that in mind. So with all that said and done, let's move on to our check-ins. So, Renara, how has your week been?
You reminded me of the washing machine saga, because I have had one myself.
Oh no.
So the hoodie I'm currently wearing no longer has a drawstring for its hood, and there's a reason for that. So really quick, I got the drawstring trapped in the door, so I sort of was laying down, and all I could hear was bang, 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 bang from downstairs, and then I could hear next door just them kind of like getting upset, because I could hear them through the door, like the wall even, and I was like, okay, what the fuck is going on? And then I panicked. I turned off all the electricity to the kitchen. It was a panic. But the hoodie survived.
I also, in case for those that are listening, I see that it is an N7 hoodie from Mass.
It is. It's an official N7 hoodie.
Oh my God, I forgot the name. Help me out. Mass Effect.
Mass Effect.
Thank you.
Mass Effect.
I was about to say Mass Hysteria for some reason. I think I'm thinking of a Ghostbuster quote for some reason.
Mass Affleck?
Oh, you guys are just trying to piss me off on purpose, I swear.
Mass Effect. Right. Thank you, Fire and Brimstone.
And then I went to for those who may not know what this is, I went to a sten-do on Saturday, which is a stag and hen do for those amalgamated together, which was an entire it was our D&D group versus the bride's normal D&D group. So you had two D&D groups who have never met, sort of sat together, having to then just sort of DM and play together, and it was an absolute clusterfuck, but it was great. But yeah, no, voice acting wise, I am thoroughly thrown into doing this Star Wars The Old Republic thing. I'm definitely going to be asking for monetary compensation if I have to do this again with this other person, because I'm doing this one for fun to start with, because I'm learning. This is a new format for me, and if I mess up and if it requires a bit of a sort of learning on my part, I'm happy to do that. But once and after I've done it, and if they would like to work with me in the future, I'm going to talk to them about possibly setting up monetary compensation, seeing how that goes, and I'd love to still work with them on the future. But if it's the case of no money, then I won't be able to.
Yeah,
but yeah,
sure.
No, that's happening. I have been working on my Skywind stuff, the more textured vocals. I hope I've sent the audio through of my Argonian, which I would absolutely love to get some feedback on. Because, oh my God, my throat hurts when I do it.
I bet.
My throat hurts after I've done it.
Sure.
So I would love to hear some input on that. And yeah, that's me. I'm trying to remain smiley and happy.
I'm
through...
pretty sure you're forgetting one very important thing.
There was a whole discussion about this, by the way. So yeah, please continue.
I have just peaked my microphone. Whoopsie. Never mind.
Fix it in post.
Will do. I have a Patreon now, guys. I have a Patreon. Woo! It is a Patreon dedicated to my Renara Hawke YouTube channel. Everything's up there. Please go check it out. If you can donate, that would be absolutely amazing. But yeah, I have a Patreon. Go check it out.
So I will note that for about the last dozen or so episodes, there has been a link to your Patreon in the description of each and every.
It's properly done now.
Okay. Well,
it's like properly done now. Multiple tiers are up there. There will be more tiers than there currently are up there eventually. I've just got to do a bit of behind the scenes work for them. So yeah, there's some stuff up there, guys.
More to come.
Yes, indeed.
Yay! Very cool. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Glad your hoodie survived. And yes, washing machines are terrible.
If it had died, I would be so upset.
Oh, all right. Well, welcome to the show. Dorino, how are you doing?
Oh man, I am exhausted. So this today's intro almost didn't happen. Not because I forgot. I swear. I'm being very genuine and honest about that. I actually just didn't really have time. Because I've been so damn busy with stuff, jobs, really. It's been really cool, and I'm going to actually talk about this as part of today's episode topic. The little kerfuffle that I had with the director on this project that I'm doing. Overall, though, I kind of said like, "Here's how things are going to be, and if you don't like it, I'm going to walk." And they're like, "Okay, yeah, I agree. Let's do it your way." And since then, like it's been great. Like I have churned out an entire chapter, which is only like 10 minutes or so, but I do all of the Foley sourcing. I do all of the like arrangement of the dialogue, as well as balancing everything, EQing everything. And I'm composing the music. So,
oh my god!
overall, I'm kind of a one-man army in a sense.
I was about to say, it sounds like you're like doing the job of 5 people right there.
In a sense, yes. Not that that's a bad thing, because honestly, I need stuff for my resume. I need stuff for my portfolio to show people that I have the capability of doing this. But yeah, like ever since he agreed to kind of back off and let me do my thing. Things have been awesome. I sent him the chapter minus the music for approval, and there was no quips whatsoever. He said everything was great. He even commended me on the extensive work that I put into the Foley. Like, I did my absolute best to make you think like you are in Destiny 2, the video game. So I'll probably share that later on down the road with you two anyways, just so you can
Sure. I'd love to hear it.
Tell me how great I am at I'm kidding, no. So it's just been a lot of my free time has been eaten up by that project in itself. That's about it. Just solely working on that. I went to a concert yesterday. Haven't been to one in a little while. Got to see one of my absolute favorite progressive metal bands, Periphery, which I actually got a hoodie from them that says Gent is not a genre. Shout out to all of my metalheads out there, because these two don't understand what I'm talking about.
Sorry.
I'll tell you about it later, because it's so that it's like not even important. Yeah, so that was really about it. That's I just been busy with that, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, no, and appreciate it. Thanks for being out. Thanks for making time in your busy day to sit with us, Dorino. I appreciate
you guys are priority one.
Yeah.
How has your week been, Zamoody?
Oh, hey, both of you. Thank you. It's been interesting. As mentioned, my washer died again, which is a whole rigmarole. And I mean, we worked the thing probably to death at this point, but still, it's a shame that you have to go through down that particular road. I mentioned to the team we have a new member of the household. My youngest partner has moved in with us, and they are hopefully having a good time. This is about day 3, but we've been working on making sure that they are comfortable. So there's a lot of things had to happen in a short amount of time in order to hopefully get to that point. So unfortunately, it's between that work and unfortunately having to have another procedure in my ear. It's all been a very, very busy week. I did not achieve my goal to get back to voice acting. I'm hoping to get that done this week. I need somebody to kick me in the ass in this house and drag me down by the ear to make sure that I can get into you guys you're too far away, and put me in that booth to get me to work. So
challenge accepted.
I mean, it would be a shocker if I turned up.
and see,
turn up.
Shit, I forgot that my wife was actually here, so now I see O'Reilly in chat. So this may actually
your hand.
This may happen now. So we'll see what happens there. I will say shout out to Magmorta. Thank you so much for being here, Magmorta. You're a great mod. We appreciate everything that you do for this particular channel. And stop encouraging my wife. That's pretty much it. I've been in a weird place, and mental health is, I know, a very, very important thing. And unfortunately, wrong medications suck all ambition out of you. Yeah. And it's like you don't want to do anything. And it's been really hard. It's been ongoing since October. And I think it's the first time I've openly said it specifically that I've been having these really, really bad episodes. And I'm hoping to get through it. Hopefully I'll get myself busy. I'll get, stuff up and running. And I do want to get back. It's just taking time. For those of you that are listening, Eldurrino just brought up a very interesting cup to view that I love.
Oh, yeah. It's my Stormtrooper cup. And while you guys are looking at this, I will tell all of you out there, including you, Zamoody, that you are not alone. And anytime you ever need help, please come talk to one of us, because we would be more than happy to help you through any experience that you may be dealing with. And I know it's not always an end-all, be-all, but just having someone there to support you, at least in my experience, helps a lot.
And it's funny because I can't point it to like one thing, and it's the hard part when it comes to these things. So I can't say, well, if this gets better, I'm good to go. It's just an ongoing thing, and I think everybody goes through it at one point or another. It's been a difficult thing. But regardless, I don't want this to be about me. I've delved into mental health time and time again. Let's get to today's topic, shall we? So I'm going to hand it off to my co-host here and take a big sip of water. So go for it.
Renara, do you want to start, since you brought up the topic about looking out for red flags in projects?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure every single one of us currently here has gone through a project where, through our journeys and through us learning how to walk this wonderful journey called voice acting, we've all had one of those projects where things just didn't, things felt weird. We didn't know why, but they just felt weird. Mm-hmm. I know for a fact that I have a very big glaring one that happened to me at the beginning of my career. I have talked about it before, but for all of our newer listeners who might not have heard it, and it was a very long time ago, I am very happy to talk about it here again. It's Zamoody knows the one I'm talking about.
Oh, I know, and this is kind of my fault, and I feel bad about it, but please continue.
It's not your fault, and I'm going to say this every single time. It is not your fault. Why? Because you didn't know that person well enough to know he would do something like this, okay?
Yeah.
So stop beating yourself up about it. You are absolutely fine, and I have learned a lot of things through the process. So get ready for a Ren Ramble special, because this might take a while.
Before you start, can you please bump your gain up a little bit? Because I think you turned it down a little too much.
I did, because I thought I was very, very loud on... I'm going to try and speak quieter for Audacity, but louder for...
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm trying. Technical difficulties.
We'll fix it in post. Continue.
Yay. So when I was a budding new voice actor, well, through my... steps to actually taking this very seriously, because I'd been already part of Skywin for a while, but I was doing that on and off, and it wasn't like a major thing. I was doing university at the time. But after literally just starting Cold Read, I met these two lovely individuals, and Zamoody was working with someone on, I can't remember what it was, to be perfectly honest.
It was a DC audio drama that I initially met this individual.
Yeah. And Zamoody recommended me to this guy for voice work, which I was like, oh, this is awesome. Grand. Met the guy on Discord. We had a brief sort of chat about the project, and he then sort of... I don't remember the whole process because it was several years ago. My memory is a bit shit. But the main thing that stood out to me was that he asked specifically for pictures of my wardrobe. And me wearing different clothes for promotional posters, he said, for the audio drama. He then sent me samples of other things from the other actresses only, of things he'd already made with them, and you can just tell on their faces they felt weird. They felt awkward in those photos. True. I didn't know any different, and I was like, okay, this seems a bit weird, but okay, that's fine. So I then went through my wardrobe. I put on a couple of outfits, purposefully made sure my feet weren't in shot because I already had that issue. Before. God. And then I sent a couple through, and he was like, oh, that's really cool. Can you then pose like this? And then I got a big, this was awful, which was the thing of, he sent me through like the 100-foot tall woman
Yes,
poster.
Okay, let me find this because I'm sure people want to look.
I forgot this was a detail.
It was an old movie poster of basically, if you've seen Monsters vs. Aliens, they've kind of taken that concept, but it's a very scantily dressed woman who is taller than a skyscraper bending over to pick up cars. And then there was a couple things where it was like, could you pose perhaps eating something? And I'm there going, nope, absolutely not.
Oh my God.
Nope, absolutely not. At that point, I just sort of went, no, this isn't going to work. And it was just sort of the thing of, he then started to get a little grumpy with me. And then I, being still very naive and still kind of just starting out in my career, felt really bad that I was pissing this guy off, but I was like, I do not feel comfortable with this. I am not going to do this. I'm going to walk away from this. I'm very sorry. I hope you find someone who will be willing to do these things for you. And he then went, okay, that's fine. And then we sort of left it at that. I have never spoken to this person at all ever now, and it's this whole thing just stuck in my mind, where it was like, I didn't have the foresight or the seeing power, whatever you call it, to realize that this sort of stuff, initially when he was asking for pictures of my wardrobe, that was weird, because he said it was to do with trying to come up with ideas for the character and what they were going to look like in the audio drama.
Yes,
again,
because you need to see your voice actor's wardrobe.
Yeah,
right.
And it was just a bit of a sort of very weird, I look back on it and go, yeah, no, absolutely not.
Of course.
Any promotional material or things like that. I mean, it was the first time I've ever seen somebody make posters for, like, actual posters, like movie posters for an audio drama. I've seen, I'm now part of another audio drama that does give promotional material, but it's all animated. It's all drawn. The characters are all like drawn, and that's what they release, rather than pictures of humans. And it's very rare, at the very least, the voice acting community, that you will see voice acting projects with promotional material with actual live people in it. At least that's from what I've seen. So be wary of that, and especially if they're asking for personal stuff from you, because all you should really need to provide is your acting capability and your voice and your ability to bring the character they want to life, not you. They should not want anything from you as a person. They want your skills and services to bring their character to life. So if you have any project, and even some people in like TV and film, and I've heard them say in interview, when a director is asking to change the character to personally fit the actor, that's a bad call, because not only can that be detrimental to your own mental health because you can't separate yourself from the character, it's not true to the director's original vision, and thus the story and the character could suffer down the line. In that regard, basically. So, long story short, if they're asking for stuff personal from you, aka images or clothing, big no. And make sure you're able to distinguish character from you. And if they're asking to blend, be very careful.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line when it comes to all of that is if you have a weird feeling when it comes to any of it, it might just be best to walk away. It's just not worth. I mean, there's been a lot of projects that I've definitely decided not to do, and it all comes down to the maturity level of the people that you're working with, or your director, or how things work out. You have to be very, very mindful, and especially, I mean, like for you, Renara, when it comes to. This person's asking for way above and beyond. This is getting into like creepy levels. I mean, obviously you did the right choice.
Yeah. I mean, I would certainly, I think it was probably, he was trying to fit some type of fetish, sadly.
Yeah, no, I'm going to just say that, 1000%.
Yeah.
And some people can be a lot more nuanced in that sort of stuff. I think I've been very lucky in regards to any other project. I've seen it in the subtext before I've even auditioned. Now that one experience has prepped me enough to know what to look for now in the actual thing. So I think I've been quite good at avoiding those types of or any sort of those types of situations purely by now just reading through the sort of the text on the auditions and things like that, because I mean we've all had weird ones on CCC occasionally, and there's some things that I'll look in there, and on CCC there's been like they've clearly advertised it as maybe like mature, but then you go in there and then they've kind of sort of hinted at possible in weird storyline beats with the character that start to look a bit, this looks more like something for you rather than that the character should do that. And they haven't been clear with that. So I've just been very, very cut and dry with quite a lot of it. And unless they specifically state that, because I've seen some where it's very much they will state that the character goes through this, and this. Please only audition if you are comfortable with doing those. And I am a big fan of people at least being upfront and honest with that straight off the get go. And I think that's a thing I've seen more of recently, being more clear with that. But yeah, no.
I mean,
I've rambled my piece.
I haven't played the audio yet. You're fine. I mean, even there's been a lot of CCC jobs for sure that are sketchy again when it comes to maybe the content or the things that they're. I mean, there's a lot that goes on that particular site, and I have seen some mature, adult-oriented projects, which always make me wonder because CCC to me seems like it's more geared towards people at the beginning of their career, and I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with those type of things being on there personally, but
I mean, weird.
It is to me it's weird because I mean, how do you mix that with like Minecraft roleplay, or
that's what it is.
It's so odd.
Well, I think part of it in that specific novelty is I don't know if that's allowed on certain like bigger name sites like VDC or something else.
Right.
So I don't know. I agree. I think that advertising your jobs for mature rated material, whether that be games or audio dramas or whatnot, like probably should be some there should be a better place to post it, or there should be some type of like filtering system.
Right.
I think the main thing was that they tried to covertly slip this in and it was it was not the
Oh, yeah.
main thing of it. Whereas I have nothing against like mature rated, highly erotic voice acting thing. People make a lot of money doing that, and they are very comfortable with doing that. There is no shame in doing that. Nothing wrong with it at all. We need those. We need someone to be doing them. But at the very least, with those sorts of things, they are very honest, open, and you know what you're going for. You know exactly what it's going to contain, and they're very open and honest with that. And I think if a listing or a director is being not so clear cut on that front, they're holding something back for a reason that usually is a little shady. So unless it's quite honest, it feels shady. At least my gut instinct said it felt shady. But
I mean, so and I think I mentioned this before when you brought this up, my initial thought is, why are they working on promotional material when the product hasn't been made yet? You have nothing to show for it. So that was, as soon as you said that, that is, that was the red flag for me, is that he was looking to do that. And again, if you're a voice actor and you will only agree to do the voice for a character, that should be all that is expected of you. You should not be needing to dress up yourself to make sure, some guy gets his kicks. Like that's I'm sorry you had to deal with that.
Yeah,
I guess is what I'm trying to say, because that's bullshit.
When I say it's fine, I say it's fine because I learned from it, and nothing actually, like, I was not harmed in the future, if that makes sense. Like, he never got anything, no actual long-term repercussions came of it, and I learned, so I'm fine. It's all fine, and experiences make us who we are, and without that experience, I might have ended up in a worse situation, or not learning these things, or not seeing these things, which is why I'm very open about talking about it, because when someone's starting out in voiceover and voice acting, like I was, I didn't see that shit until afterwards. So it's like, I'm more than happy to talk about it. In hindsight is 2020, and it looking back, it's like, oh my god, this is absolutely obvious. Why didn't you? But again, we learn, we grow, we move forward. I'm sure you two have horror stories somewhere along the lines.
I get to talk about mine here in a little bit.
So I think the biggest thing is that we're trying to leave a good impression. We're trying to impress. We're trying to put ourselves in a better position than we are. And we're not realizing that we're getting taken advantage of when it comes, especially, come on, I mean, with that kind of stuff. And like you said, hindsight's 2020. But at the time, you're probably like, hey, this is great. I'm getting into character. This is going to help me with the recording part, without realizing that,
For me, it was when the poster came through and the asking to eat thing was then, okay, now that's blaringly obvious in my face. Now I'm not comfortable with that, because that was my moment of, that's when I realized. You guys saw it way ahead before then, but I did not.
All right.
But there are people out there who will try to do that, and there are young voice actors and actresses, because it's not just women. Men get objectified as well. I'm just going to say that right now. People, it happens to everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It just does.
Yeah.
And we need to look out for each other.
Yikes. Dorino, I want to hear yours. I'm curious.
Somebody take over!
Okay, so let me preface this by saying, if you are the director of this project that I'm about to speak of, and you're watching this sometime in the future, please know that these are my thoughts and opinions on the entire matter that we discussed approximately a week and a half ago. If you have any questions or concerns, please come talk to me. I'd be more than happy to evaluate, or rather elaborate on anything that I'm about to say. So, as you all know, or as I've talked about, I've really been pushing myself to become more of a sound engineer, an audio engineer. It is something that I've done for so long, and I didn't even realize that I was doing it. And now that I am doing it, I'm pretty good at it, and I'm making money off of it now. So I'm super, super thrilled. But in any case, I put my name in the hat for this one project based on Destiny, which is a video game franchise. And the response time, super fast. It was practically like the next day. They asked me, what experience I had and what do you know about Destiny and blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'm addicted to Destiny pretty much. And, I've been doing sound stuff like casually for probably the better part of a decade, but more seriously the last 2 years. And so they're like, yeah, that's great. Lead audio engineer said that he signed off on you. You're fine. Welcome to the team. So, to start off with, I was geared to go because, as you guys have probably heard through my intros and the work that we have done together, I've done this a lot. I wrote an entire rock opera, for fuck's sakes. I mean, it wasn't as good as what I can produce now, but it was still the stepping stone on the journey to greatness. And so when I signed on, I was really ready to go, and the director didn't really give me an objective. He just said, "Here's the book. Make audio based on just the prologue for now, and then we'll talk."
Okay.
So, knowing the end goal, I guess, and the universe that this is set in, I was pretty well equipped to just go at it. And that's exactly what I did. I did not rely on the lead audio engineer. I basically just did everything myself. And I know that's really dumb, and I don't really recommend it necessarily because you don't want to step on people's toes. But again, I know what I'm doing, and I know how to deliver a good product. And therefore, I just took it upon myself to arrange everything, add all the Foley that I needed to. I even went in game in order to capture audio, which is actually kind of difficult to do. I mean, I know in a lot of cases audio is ripped from games, but I can't figure out a way of doing that, so I had to do this as a backup. But aside from all that, I also composed the music for the prologue. It's 2 songs, and they're only like 1.5 to 2.5 minutes. But either way, I basically took the entire thing and made it myself, and I gave it back to him. And he said, "This is amazing. Here's a couple of things I want changed, but otherwise, way better than I could have ever expected." And I did all that in 2 days. So I was going real hard in the paint. So during that entire process, the director spoke, or I guess messaged everybody in a very condescending tone. To me, it was like if your parents were mad at you and they were talking to you, or better yet, if you're in the military and your drill instructor or your superior were to be talking to you, basically saying, okay, I need you to go look for this specific audio. Do I make myself clear? That kind of, those kind of comments.
Was that directly to you, or was that just in general? Whoa.
Well, I mean, it wasn't. So it was a couple of times towards me, and then a couple of times towards a couple of other people on the project. Okay. And I'll get to why I think he was doing that. But it obviously things can get mistranslated through the internet very, very easily because you can't determine tone of voice. So
yeah.
I try to give him the benefit of the doubt for the time being because I figured he wasn't really doing it maliciously. So I kind of just skimmed over that. But after I put that together, I said, I'm going to take Sunday off. Sundays, I pretty much I set aside the entire day so that I can, 1, work on this podcast, and 2, just relax because throughout the rest of the week, I'm pretty busy. So I dedicate 1 day to just chill and have a day off. And then he said something to me that I was not a fan of at all. He said, "After all the work you've put in, you deserve a day off." And I was like, who are you to tell me what I do with my time? Because at this point in the project, I didn't know that there was any payment coming out of this. I was solely doing this because I was interested in the project and I wanted to get the experience. That was really about it. And again, I've been doing this for a while. I know how to deliver something successful. So he said that, and it really, really rubbed me the wrong way. I don't think that, even in an instance in which this was more of just a hobby as opposed to like a paid position, you shouldn't talk to people like that. Like that's
No.
not okay. Like you weren't giving me deadlines. You weren't even giving me a direction. You are the director, and I said this to him after the whole thing was, you are the director. You need to lead people. You need to inspire them to be better at what they're already doing. In any case, so I gave it a couple of days of thought and just kind of watching what he was doing. He tended to micromanage everybody like way more than they needed to.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like I would basically give like daily updates after I was done with my work. I would say, here's what I worked on today. Here's what's coming tomorrow,
Yeah.
And I guess daily updates weren't good enough because he would literally ask for an update every 6 hours.
Oh my God.
Okay, no.
Not a for fun thing. So
Damn.
so after giving it much thought, I had enough, and I said,
Yeah.
I'm no longer interested in being associated with this project. I hope you guys have the best of luck. Let me know if you guys need something in the future or if you need anything. And then I left. I left the Discord channel. Well, as I didn't realize, but when you leave a server, it I guess erases all your messages and whatnot if that setting's turned on.
Yeah.
So they didn't actually know why I had left, or even seen my message. So the director naturally freaked the fuck out. Messaged me a number of times on Discord, tried to call me on Discord while I was doing my day job, and then also messaged me on CCC about it, saying like, what's going on? I have no idea what happened. Like, please just get back to me. I can sort this out, yada, yada. Like, he didn't even know what was going on. So he was really trying whatever he could to bring me back.
Right.
And so I gave it some time to just really compose myself and respond in a professional way. And I said, here's how I feel about this whole thing. I don't like that you're micromanaging everybody. You can't artists don't work well under that kind of pressure. Like they're being watched like under a microscope. Like just let them do what they need to do.
Yeah.
Two, I gave you a complete product that I think was pretty good, and everyone else in this group agreed it was very, very good, up to very high standards. And I did that in 2 days. I have demonstrated my worth to you, and I don't feel like I'm being valued or respected. I don't like that you are talking down to people, not just myself, but to the other people on the project. I don't like the daily check-ins, or not the daily check-ins, but the like regular check-ins, requesting updates. And I just said, you're not doing your part. Your part is to direct. It is to lead. You need to help inspire people to work successfully. And he said, yes, I agree with you on all of that. And to me, it kind of felt like a little bit of a cop-out, just because he realized like, hey, I'm pretty good at what I'm doing.
And you're calling him on his bullshit too, but yeah.
Right. And I mean, he even said like, you are what he meant to say was, you are one of the most valuable people on this project. What he said was, you are the most useful person on this team. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Like that kind of saying something like that in that way does not come across well. It sounds like you are using me, So like, so just please just let me do my thing. I have shown to you that I am more than capable of giving you what you're looking for. Like, and I know Destiny really well. Like I've been playing that game for 8
Since
years
launch,
now.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like back in like Destiny 1 days. So yeah, I've been very, very involved with it. But in the end, he said, I really need you on this project. Like this won't be a reality without you. I will give you a raise. And I was like, I didn't even know we were doing this for money. I was just doing this for fun. So sure, give me a raise, whatever. And then, you know, I joined back in, and ever since then, he has been really good about things. Like he actually kind of didn't say anything for a couple of days and just let me do my thing. And then I was like, here's what I have so far. I went back to doing my daily updates on what I was working on, what's coming next and whatnot. And by the end of this week, I had given it to him minus the music for this chapter. But I had given him a 80% completion. And I said, here, what do you think of this? He's like, everything is perfect. Don't touch anything. Just put the music to it. So the moral of this story is, yes, listen to your gut. Listen, like, if you don't feel like you are working very well in a project, or if you're just not happy in a project, just leave.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you're not getting paid, if you haven't signed a contract. Like, actually, speaking of contracts, that was one thing he suggested early on, like right after I joined, was signing a contract. And I was like, you're using another franchise's like stuff. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
that's
but I
difficult.
even said, like, this is not a priority or a necessity. Let's just focus on making, you know, a fun thing, you know. So
Yeah.
Again, like, if you don't feel comfortable, if you're not having fun anymore, because God knows I was not enjoying myself, and it had only been 2 days, and I was already like, I want out. Don't be afraid to walk away or say, hey, like, why are you doing this? What can we do to make this better? Yeah. So that's the whole spiel. I think I covered most of everything, I think.
No, I think so. It's fascinating to hear the whole story, because I was aware of you leaving and then coming back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's
was
just-
not sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I wasn't like, I was in the same position as you, Renara. Like, I kind of felt bad about having to say, like, you know, here, you are making me uncomfortable, basically. Like, it does take a certain gall, I guess, to stand up for yourself, really. And it's I'm not a huge proponent of confrontation in a way, because like I just like when everyone gets along, really.
Yeah.
But you know, like, as time goes on, I'm realizing that I actually have a lot more value and a lot more like creative skill within myself that I should be using to make my dreams come true, essentially. Like, because, you know, I've always wanted to do some type of art, whether it be, you know, music or acting or whatnot. And like, you know, voice acting is great, but obviously it's very cutthroat. This is something a little more solid and something I actually have more experience with as opposed to voice acting.
Yeah.
How is it? Did he ever tell? I mean, I might be prying into information here, but how new is he to directing? Do you know at all or not?
Very
new.
So. And okay, so yeah, so this is kind of what I skipped over before is I found out later, after just looking into the project overall, that this project has been open for about 3 years or so. People have not stuck around.
Oh, wow.
Turnover is high. Ooh.
So if this guy essentially has been pushing people away, and he's acting like, if he was acting the same way that he was with me, I can't really fault anybody for leaving, because obviously I did the same. I was ready to walk out the door because I wasn't happy with it. So I'd like to believe that maybe me standing up for myself and kind of saying, like, hey man, you're acting kind of a jerk, like, settle down, like, I'll make your project come to life. I have no problem with that, and I'm more than happy to do it, even for free. You just gotta chill out, you know, just have fun with it.
So do we have more tolerance for those projects that are paying us to put up with the bullshit? Is that what I'm kind of hearing out of all of this?
I mean, not necessarily. just because like initially I walked out and I didn't think I was even getting paid at all.
Right.
Like I already made something for him and gave it to him, and I was not expecting any type of compensation for it whatsoever. And even then I was just like, I can't handle this anymore. Like, I'm sorry, but you're not only not doing your part on this project, but you're being mean to people and you're being rude, and that's I don't like that kind of stuff. If he decides to return to his same attitude of micromanaging people, I will speak up immediately about it.
Good.
And if it does not change, then I'm gone. Like, I'm not, because again, like I know what my worth is. Like, it's taken me a while to get to this point, but like I know I know that I'm pretty good at engineering stuff. I have still a lot to learn. I recognize that, but for what I have now, like I'm doing a pretty swell job, and I believe, in my personal opinion, that I deserve to be paid for my time. I mean, as I was saying before,
agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
100%.
this chapter 1 that I've done, I've already put in probably like 15 to 20 hours into it so far. And I'm really doing it just because I love it. Like, I love Destiny. It's a great franchise. It's a great world that they've built up. The story doesn't make any fucking sense, but it's super fun, and space and aliens and all that shit.
Let me when you said the story doesn't make sense, are we talking about the actual game or the audiobook that you're doing?
Okay.
The lore has a lot of plot holes, and
I'm
stuff
jumping
like that.
out. Yeah, no,
I
sorry.
have one small thing to add
Please.
to
Yes.
that in regards to, it really does feel like the boss versus leader mentality here, and it's the thing of I know when I was first starting out, and I think I was similar. I'm going to be honest with that. I was a bit similar. I felt I had to control everything. I felt I had to have my hand in everything. Otherwise, things would go horribly wrong, and things would normally go horribly wrong because I was doing that. Shock fucking horror. But it is that sort of thing of bosses usually, and this is how I've learned and how I like to categorize, and it helps me understand things. Bosses usually are the type of people who sit at the top of the ladder and kind of just everyone's a peon and they each do their own thing and they're useful.
Yes.
Hence the wording. But leaders usually are the ones that they aren't sat on top. They are sat inside, usually the bottom rung almost. They are kind of working in with people. They are doing the same thing. It's why with my ones, I'm very much sort of, I'm a voice actor too. We're all in this together. Let's do this together type thing. And it just does feel like perhaps this, again, brand new to it, he probably feels like he has to have some super level of control. And that purely might be coming from just anxiety and lack of experience. And I think you kicking him and being very forward with him, I think helped him to maybe see some of the behaviors he was doing might not be great.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that you came back probably might have been to do with he showed promise to change.
Yes.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Oh, so it's like, I don't know. It's difficult to say because I am always of the opinion, treat people how you would like to be treated. I can't imagine that this guy wants to be treated this way. And it could just be, maybe he is nervous. And he actually did even say after the fact, when he was apologizing, essentially, saying that he's just really nervous to continue losing people or people like losing interest because there wasn't enough of a sense of urgency there, I guess. I guess in the past, this guy probably had people on that just didn't do anything, but he didn't want to necessarily like set deadlines because he didn't want to be forceful with people. So he went from basically kind of taking the more passive approach and then went to the opposite end of the spectrum and became very aggressive.
Full pendulum swing, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, like in an instance in which someone shows that they're being incompetent or, not doing the job that they were brought on specifically to do, then yes, I can understand the aggression towards that person, or just, having to say, please make sure this gets done in a very timely manner, or else, I might not have to have you around anymore. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but, just the fact that I had given him more than what he was looking for in such a short amount of time, and he still had the audacity to kind of speak to me that way, I was like, that's not acceptable.
No.
So yes, overall, please watch out for people who act like jerks or try to take advantage of you, because you do not have to settle for that. You are an amazing individual, and you have a lot of talent to put into the world, and don't waste it on people like that. The end.
Wow, I guess the affirmation doesn't need to happen from Eldurrino. I think you just covered it right there. My goodness. All right, we got about 5 minutes left in this hour. I'm sorry, my dog all of a sudden is deciding to go nuts, and I have no idea.
Nice. This sounds like a perfect opportunity to listen to Renara's audio that she has provided to us.
I agree. So let's go ahead and do that. 3, 2, 1. Apparently, that's not what I thought it was. Oh, yeah, okay. Well. I did queue up the eggs. Well, there's audio difficulties right there. One moment.
We still need to make that into a jingle one of these days. I promise all the jingles and whatnot that I said I would provide like 2 months ago, they'll happen. Don't worry.
Yeah. Right. and you know what's funny, because I did all of this ahead of time. All of a sudden, I guess I overrode the button. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Perhaps this one is better off in the wilds. No Dunmer to look down on it. Perhaps this one is better off in the wilds. No Dunmer to look down on it. Come back in the morning. Torasa only does business between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Come back in the morning. Torasa only does business between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Mistress has marked the cellar as a trusted and honored friend. It may do business as it pleases. Mistress has marked the cellar as a trusted and honored friend. It may do business as it pleases. A small trophy for my young. A small trophy for my young.
All right, see you in that particular. Okay. I love that you were breathe acting. There was a couple of second takes there that I absolutely. I've always enjoyed that. It works out really well. Technical wise, I didn't really hear anything other than "I'm sorry for your voice."
I know. I know. It's right at the back of my throat and up my nose is what it is.
Yeah. So I was going to say something along those lines, in that I can tell you're using a lot of like. You're almost you're almost like closing off your throat and trying to push it into your nasal passage, which honestly isn't that big of a deal. Oh, hey, welcome, Raiders.
Yeah, I was about to say, Ricky Barbie, thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate everybody. For those of you coming in, we're just wrapping up the episode. Welcome to Cold Read the Podcast. Again, thank you, Ricky. I hope everything is well with you. We haven't talked in a while.
Well, cool. Perfect time for everyone to learn how to do a couple of vocal techniques that I'd like to teach to Renara. Yes. So in order to help with this, really it's more about getting your throat and your vocal cords used to this sensation. But there's a couple of different things that you can do here. One, this is my preferred method, is that so think of how you would normally cough. You're usually, kind of You kind of have that weird, like, almost like punch kind of in the back of your throat.
Yeah.
So I want you to think about having to cough, but you're trying to stifle it. So you're essentially going, huh, and then just keep it right there. And you're going to feel that tenseness right in the back of your throat.
Yeah.
Now, once you have the feeling and try to make noise, it's going to sound more like, I don't know, some kind of weird creature, I guess. So you essentially go from talking like that to talking more like this. And
I'll get that.
It does sound, at least in my opinion, it does sound a bit more along the lines of the Argonian. But once you become used to that, it's going to preserve your voice a bit better.
Yeah.
Because I imagine right now you're kind of, what is it, like the epiglottis, I want to say, or something?
I'm definitely fatiguing the top part here. This is what gets warm and very much I then have to rest the rest of me. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, we're on losing voice territory. Ooh. But no, yeah.
To help out with that, a lot of the work is going to come from your diaphragm. So if you're not already doing that when you're doing your regular voice acting, now is the perfect opportunity to learn, because it is super important. But yes, from my experience, when it comes to like harsh vocals, it requires a ton of breath support, and you cannot manage it by like breathing from your chest. You have to breathe basically with your diaphragm or your stomach. There is another method that I don't recommend as much, but still can be effective. So use this to your knowledge, or use this to the best of your ability if you choose to go along this line. So imagine you come home. I think we've actually talked about this before when we were doing a directed session. So you come home and you notice that all your clothes are on the floor and the pillows are off the couch, and there's food in the sink, and it's the worst feeling. So you walk through the door and you see all this, and you can't do anything but just a big open sigh, right? So think about that motion, and then you really just need to emphasize it. So take it to the next level. The washing machine is broken again for the third time in the past month. Oh,
damn it!
So you can see I went from to really kind of getting that growl in the back. Yeah. So by utilizing that feeling, you can then pair that with your own normal speaking voice, and then it should sound something more like this, where it sounds like the blacksmith from Renara's Legend of ColdRead saga. So,
and that's what she was so excited about.
So that one, again, like when it comes to doing an Argonian voice, I don't recommend that, because that sounds, I guess, more like orc, I would say, than anything, minus the tusks. But
I
think overall it really just comes down to learning how to control your vocal cords in your throat correctly, as well as just learning that breath support, because that style of speaking takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of time to get used to. But I mean, if you put that on your resume and people see that, they're gonna be like, yo, this chick's awesome. Like,
it's why
get her in on this shit.
It's why I've stuck with it, despite the fact I've had so many times where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could do it. Can I? No, I've stuck with it. I've held on to that card. It's
all about learning.
Exactly. There is one small thing, which is I think it is unique to Skywind in that they say that these Argonians basically need to sound like they have asthma because their lungs are not fully developed properly. So that's why it was very breathy. That's why you have the because in this lore-wise, they've only just formed into humanoid bipedal? Yeah, when they stand on two legs. Thank you. So they want that sort of laboured breathing and things like that. So that's what they asked me what I did with that to basically speed it up a bit, because they said I was too slow. I'm still in the realms of there's scope for me to keep practicing and do some stuff with it. But yeah, no, thank you very much. I will likely improve somewhere.
I will say, certainly, with if they're looking for more breath in it, be careful, especially in the first example, if you are going to utilize that during your inhales, because so what you're essentially doing is you're kind of like closing your throat. So I'm making a circle on screen in case you can't.
Thank you.
You can't
Yay.
see this, but so imagine your throat is a circular or cylinder rather, and what you're doing is essentially you're closing it down to a fraction of its size. When you inhale doing this, it's going to feel very weird. It is possible, but then you're gonna. I don't even know if I can do it, so I'd have to start speaking like this. That actually is not a good idea. So, if you decide to go that route, train yourself to inhale without doing that effect. So, if you can speak like this and then kind of relax it a little bit and then do the inhale that way, it will work out way better for you. And please, if you ever want more examples, if you want to practice with me on it, please let me know, because I'd be more than happy to impart some of the knowledge that I have from the metal vocals world onto other victims.
It's funny. I was just thinking we should probably dedicate like a whole episode to like Dorino's monster voices. I swear.
Yes.
I think that would be very fun.
Yes. Let's do
although it's, I don't want to teach people my secrets, because then everyone's going to know how to do it, and that makes me less desirable.
But not everyone's going to sound like you when they do it.
That is true. That is very. I said the same thing to my fiance today. Because we were talking about this audiobook, and they're like, or I said I should have asked for more money, and she's like, well, don't do that, because then they might fire you and have this other guy like replace you. And I was like, no one writes like me, so I doubt it.
Irreplaceable, Eldurrino. Like,
well, thank you. I wish other people agreed with you and had the same sentiment, but thank you.
Yeah, I guess. I mean.
I guess.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate everybody. Thank you again, Ricky Burby, for coming in with the raid. Thanks everybody who chatted. Fire and Brimstone, Meg Morta. I know Meg, I know you're out there. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, anything you want us to talk about, please feel free to email us, ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com. ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com. Drop your audio. Either come in and join our let me say, join our Discord. Discord's always in the description of these videos. Either you're watching us on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. Just look down in the description. Come on in, join us. Enjoy Fire and Brimstone's daily memes. We sure are. And the conversations that have happened in there for helping people with their audio, or if you have any questions, anything, we will direct you to people that are award-winning actors or people that know production really well. We'll find somebody to hopefully help you out. While you're there, drop your audio, either your auditions, your demo reels, anything that you want to send in. If you're practicing an accent or if you're practicing a character, drop it in there. We'd love to listen to it. As you just heard Renara doing her Argonian, and Eldurrino had a lot of good feedback. We can do that for you too, so don't be afraid of us. But yeah, feel free to tune in. We do these recordings again live on Twitch, noon Pacific time, or
8 p.m. for all of us Teen Crumpet people.
Thank you so much. And make sure that you guys are doing something fun and innovative, hopefully. I will leave that to other people for their... Well, how about you, Renara? What's your positive? Because we already heard Eldurrino, so what's your positivity for the week?
Opportunities will come and go. Money comes and goes, but learning is inevitable. Just make sure that it doesn't permanently hurt you. I don't know. This is really weird. I know what I'm trying to say here. It's the thing of going through experiences is never usually a bad thing, because you will learn from those. But knowing, and hopefully with the information from our ones, being forewarned is forearmed, and you can hopefully avoid some of these nasty situations yourselves.
Thank you.
I don't know. This is really...
No, you're good. You're fine. You get it now.
Confidence.
So, with there. All... Yes. As Magmorta has said, microwaves to all, and don't forget to hydrate everyone. Self-care is important.
So before we leave, real quick, you're going to want to tune into the next episode because we are bringing on Christina Costello, who is the voice of Kali from Genshin Impact. So if you're a Genshin player, come hang out with us. We're going to chat with her for a good hour. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Catch y'all next time. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Drink water.
Drink water.